Can I show you one of my most favorite paintings by Seurat? It's called A Sunday Afternoon on the island of La Grande Jatte. Hold on. Here we go. Okay, big favorite of mine. You'll notice that every bit of this painting is painted with little dots. So look, the whole painting looks like this up close, right? So what this painter did was he wanted to make colors appear by, imagine it like pixel art, right? He invented pixels. Well, he wasn't the first person to do pointillism, but he was definitely like the guy who tried to make it work. Okay. So the thing is, he was taking pure pigments and he wasn't mixing anything on the palette. Normally you'd take these different pigments and you'd squeeze them out and then you'd mix them together to make a color and then apply it to the canvas. That's just how you do it typically, right? So instead he was taking pigments and not mixing them, and he was just making little dots of color so that when you stand back from it, the colors are sort of mixed by your eye, right? Because of light. And he was like, there's just color and light. That's it. That's all there is. It's just color and light. And he was like, people were like, you're insane. And he was like, no, watch. And then he like paints some larger paintings and you stand back from it and you're like, yeah, this looks like the woman's hat looks like a dark purple, but when you get up close to it, it's just red and blue over and over, red and blue, red and blue. Yeah, optical mixing, exactly. So this dude like was just very obsessed with this idea. And so he, went with pointillism. Actually, when he would do a few of the things that you could see of his that where he wasn't using pointillism, incredible painter just alone. So he was really, really good outside of that. But this was the thing that he kind of dedicated himself to. And I always really loved a lot of his paintings because of this, because if you've ever seen one in person, it's such a cool experience, right? To like walk up to it from afar, you see it hanging on the wall and it looks the way it looks, but as you get closer, it breaks down more and more and you can see like the individual dots. So like the guy's eyelid and eye, you just see these bluish dots, but when you stand way back from it, it doesn't feel like it's blue, you know? The skin tones were really well done. You see a lot of like red, brownish, kind of like an ochre pigment, very, very, very interesting. So he just did his best to try and make this work. It's really cool. So you notice how the perspective is off a little. So the lady on the right is in the foreground and she's huge. The dude on the left is in the foreground. He's not as big as the lady though, right? And like a lot of things on the left look smaller than things on the right, and some of them are further, but also the perspective's off. What you're supposed to do is he wanted this painting to be viewed. You're actually supposed to stand to the right of it, very close to the wall, and look at it on an angle. And when you do that, the perspective of like the woman being a bit larger, all of that, like makes sense to the eye. So he wanted to both do that in, having pointillism kind of allow your eye to mix the color, but then also he wanted the perspective to also be something that your eyes do. So you have to view this in person and turn yourself. and that's how he wanted you to do it. It was such a cool painting, man. There's another painting that he has that I really love, where he painted this painting in the background of the other painting. Let me see how much I could show, because it does have a naked woman. Hold on. I gotta crop out the naked lady. All right, I'm gonna show the top third as like a slice of this painting. There are two other thirds, but, ladies naked and Twitch. People ruined the art category. That's all I'll say. Look at this. This is a painting, okay? All pointillism. And there's a woman standing in the middle, and she's a model. There are two other women. There's one on the right putting her boots on, or like a sock, and then there's one on the left also getting dressed. And on the wall is his other painting, painted into this painting. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's so good. It's one of my most favorites. And yeah, she's in the spot he wanted you to stand when you look at the painting too. She's like right next to it and on the right side. Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool, man? Bro is prestige painting. That's really what it is, yeah. Yeah, this painting was so cool, man. It's just like, a woman standing there looking straight at you. And with this painting on the wall. It's one of his own works. Isn't that cool, man? Isn't that so cool? I like art a lot. Go-to painter. How hard is it to do that, right? Sit it right here. How much time did he have to sit there and do all these different studies of his own painting? I bet he sat there and painted his own painting hanging on the wall in you know, like a still life, right? A still life of his own painting where he just sits at an angle next to it and then repaints it, you know, however it looks at that angle. That's I don't even know. Yeah, you said Michelangelo's David has significantly larger hands than would be proportional for his body, but when viewed from below, they look perfectly proportioned. Exactly, exactly. They were always in classical art thinking about a person physically looking at this. And that's why I think people should just go to museums, because a lot of pieces are, they're intended for that kind of viewing, you know, and you really should just go see them in person, straight up. Every time, every time. Dude would be pissed to learn about layers in Photoshop in the future. Yeah, David was supposed to be on top of a building. Yeah, where was it supposed to be? Which, let me see. It's supposed to be placed on the exterior of the Florence Cathedral's buttresses, but they were concerned about its size and vulnerability to weather, so they put it in the piazza. Okay. Yeah, so it's supposed to be very high up then. Very high up. You're a bit of an art history nerd. I love it. I'm not gonna say I'm well studied in it. I know a lot about a couple of specific ones that I really like. But it's always something I wanted to just spend more time on. Because it's just interesting. I don't know, it's just interesting. Remember when you played Revengeance and the whole game, it was just a close-up on Raiden's ass? It was just like his like tight clothes wearing robo ass.